Okay, so you were predicted to be a top 3 NBA draft pick.
Uh-huh.
But then when you enter the draft, you actually get number 1. What was the chaos that occurred in your living room when you were picked as the number 1 NBA draft pick of 1995?
They actually had us in the green room. And the draft, it was the year I got drafted was Toronto Raptors' first year. So the draft was actually in Toronto. And we all sitting in the green room, the top, who they feel are going to be the top 13 picks, the lottery picks. We're all sitting in the green room, and Golden State, the commissioner comes up and put Golden State on the clock, 5 minutes on the clock to make their decision. And as they're on the clock, man, I'm just back there nervous. I'm looking around at everybody's face, all the players, and everybody's looking the same, some mingling with their family, but I couldn't even say nothing. I'm just sitting there nervous, my hands crossed over my face, just waiting to see who's going to be called. Because our draft was pretty deep, and anybody could have been number 1 that year. And once they finally came back, the commissioner came back and said the Golden State Warriors chose Joe Smith. I looked over at my mom, and she was sunk down in her chair, praying, thanking God, and had to, she was almost on the floor, sunk down so deep. So when I bent down to give her a hug, I almost had to fall on the floor with her. But, it was just a great moment. I looked over, saw my sister's face, saw the joy on my sister's face, my uncle's face, and my agent at the time. And, it was just a special moment, man, and something that we all worked for, and something that not too many of us can claim.
Well, yeah, you got picked over Kevin Garnett, Rasheed Wallace, Jerry Stackhouse, and a whole bunch of really top-notch players.
Yeah, Antonio McDyess. A lot of people don't give him credit, but Antonio McDyess was a monster as well. He went number 2 that draft. So, our draft was pretty deep. Damon Stoudemire, Sean Respert. We had a pretty good draft.
Okay, so now you get drafted for the Golden State Warriors. Your first deal was $8.5 million over 3 years?
I think it was 9 over 3 years.
Yeah. $9 million. I was close. Okay, $9 million over 3 years. So here you are, a poor kid growing up in Virginia.
Right.
And now you're a millionaire.
Overnight.
Literally overnight. But you have no financial training. You don't come from a wealthy family that knows how to invest.
Right.
You've probably never paid taxes up to this point.
Right.
It's, as someone who's had money and lost it all and had to get it back up again, I understand how easy it is to really just think that the money will just keep coming forever.
Right.
So in the beginning, when you first got that check, what did you start spending money on?
First thing I bought was my mom a house back in Virginia. That was the first thing I bought. I had a couple vehicles, Mercedes. At that time, I had a white Land Cruiser. That's that I started with. And a couple years later, after I stacked a little bit, saved up a little bit. That's when I was able to, finally buy myself a home in the Bay Area. Before I got traded from, the Warriors, I, bought a home there, thinking that I was going to be there long term. But it was mostly the houses and vehicles. I had a few pieces of jewelry. I wasn't a big jewelry guy, but I had a few pieces of jewelry. That I got right off the bat, but it wasn't too much jewelry. It was basically the home and the cars. But when you're making $9 million or $3 million a year, after taxes 1.5, that adds up.
Well, it's even less than that because first you got the $9 million, and then what percentage does the agents take and so forth? Is it 20%?
No, they take between 2 and 4 at that time.
Okay, so 2 and 4%, that's off the top. And then you're in the highest tax bracket, which is a 50% tax bracket.
Right.
So after you subtract that, then you got the money that's left. And then, you bought your mom a house.
Right.
You bought these cars. you buy this jewelry, then you buy yourself a house. Now, you understand that the NBA, although you think you're going to play for a team forever, like a Steph Curry,
Right.
you could be traded the next day.
At that time, I didn't understand the business like that as far as trades, how the trade goes. That was my second year in the league. But I eventually learned quick, but I didn't know how the business of the trade went. Thought I was going to be with the Warriors, like you say, for a while. I was putting up pretty good numbers out there. My first 2 years, I was, having great seasons. And something happened and they decided to kind of just blow the team up.
Well, right. I just want to say, when you started with them, you had Tim Hardaway on the team, Chris Mullin, Latrell Sprewell. By the second year, you started all 82 games.
Right.
You made the NBA All-Rookie first team. You were doing your thing on the team.
Right.